Good afternoon, sir. This is my work. My name is Mark Mandin, base MT1 Antares. Task 1, Scenario 1. Large diameter pipes are always to be stowed in a fore and aft direction in order to avoid shifting during the voyage. The stow of large diameter pipes should always be kept level, which involves specialized stevedores and a considered number of laborers in order to fit the necessary timbers stools. Loading starts off from the tank top, on which sufficient layers of flat dunnage or square timber are laid, usually about 3 meters apart. The stowage starts at one side of the hold, and the remaining empty space at the other side of the hold is filled by means of wooden stoves being composed of crosswise laid and nailed pieces of squared timber. A piece of plywood cut out in diameter of the pipe will consist in raising the wooden stool to the level required by the pipe, which will be loaded on top of the stool. Will eventually be at the same level of the pipes, which will be loaded in the cant lines. This procedure should be continued throughout the loaded operation, hence the reason why a number of laborers need to be on standby. Pipes are usually landed on timber being placed on the previous layer and are rolled by manual force into the ship's side. CO2 Scenario 2. Cargo to be loaded, wire rod to be shipped in coil. Task 1. Analyze on how this kind of cargo can be safely stowed and secured if it is shipped in cold and the weight of coil is up to 10 tons. Coils up to 10 tons can be stowed 3 high above. Check the pile of it is well secured and tied very well. Check also the maximum loads of the ship. Finding proper stowage for the coil can be placed and safe to stow. Have a stacking height calculation and lifting plan. Also lifting calculation. Task 2 to 3. You should Step 1 is coils up to 5 tons can be stowed too high above. Next is check the pile if it is well secured and tied very well. Next is check also the maximum loads of the ship. Next, have also a transportation analysis on where to put the coil to be safe. Next is finding good spot to pile all the coil and have the weight well distributed in the ship. And last is have a stacking height calculation and lifting plan, also lifting calculation. Scenario 3. Task 1. Containers is only as strong as the weakest component in that stack or in the top. Next is twist locks limit vertical and transverse movement. Next, apply outside lashing in the containers for more safety. Next, containers exposed to wind loading and additional stronger lashing. Last is check height of the containers to avoid falling and must be attached or piled to a device for more secure and safety. In task 2, first check the stowage planning on how to load the container on the ship. Next is check also the lifting calculation during the loading process of the container. Next, check the proper place to put the container even though it is not fitted with the deck. Last is apply the proper distribution of weight so that the ship will maintain balance. And lastly, secure or use proper lashing to secure the container. In scenario number 4, task 1. Check first the weight of every truck have been stowed in the Ruro. Second is have the strong and proper way on bridge to avoid accident. Next is distribute the weight properly in the ship. And last is check the dead weight tons and must be 20,000 to 50,000 OWT capacity. Task 2. Check first the weight of every truck that have been stowed and when it is 20 to 30 tons, it must be in the area of the ship and must be put properly so that to avoid accident. Next is task 3. Check the OWT of the ship if it is range and make sure to distribute the weight properly to have balance during the travel. And make sure having enough space to avoid collision or accidents. That's all, sir. Thank you.